America's Strongest Man takes place this weekend on the 16th and 17th of December in Las Vegas.
Viva Las Vegas. Yeah.
So, talking strongman, we're talking America's Strongest Man. It's taking place at the Olympia.
And America's Strongest Woman.
And America's Strongest Woman, yes indeed. And some stacked lineups in both classes. We don't often talk about America's Strongest Man on this channel or other national titles, to be quite honest. No. Often one of the reasons is it's hard to find information on what's going on in some of these comps when it's smaller promoters. It's not kind of always put out there as effectively or as efficiently as it should be. But we have managed to find out some interesting info about this one. And I've got to say, it's a great lineup and a very interesting and hard-looking set of events.
Yeah, and we were looking back on the history of America's Strongest Man because in recent years, it hasn't attracted the more well-known names, has it? I mean, it used to attract big names. Brian Shaw last did it in 2016, and obviously he won it. Derek Poundstone's won it a few times. Yeah. Travis Ortmeyer, back in his heyday, he won it. Dimitar Savatinov as well, interestingly. I like that one. But yeah, it's had some great winners. Wesley Claiborne, Josh Silvers was the most recent last year.
Yeah, and, you know, I think winning your national title, it has to mean something. It's got to be a big title. And I think America's is now starting to get that prestige back into that title.
It should. When you think of how many incredible strongmen there are in America, like America's Strongest Man should be a huge deal.
You look at the incredible list of Americans we've been compiling for a video that we've got coming up on greatest Americans of all time. Yeah. But yeah, let's get into the athletes anyway that are competing in this competition. We are starting with probably one of the big favourites for this competition, Trey Mitchell. Then we've got the American Nightmare, Bobby Thompson, Austin Andre, Josh Hatfield, Brett Thompson, Timothy Buck, Jasper Hanley, Roy Orantia, Jacob Finity, Alex Kopp, former champion Wes Claiborne, Marcus Crowder, and Tyler Cotton.
And competing in the openweight women's, we have last year's champion, Victoria Long. Third place at this year's World's Strongest Woman, Inez Carrasquillo. Now famed for her infamous Hercules hold, Gabby Dixon. The current World's Strongest Woman, Olga Lashuk. And also competing is Summer Johnson. And recently back from injury, Corey Butler. And Corey was second last year behind Victoria.
Was indeed. Looking forward to seeing Corey back competing.
That's a stacked women's lineup though. I love that they've adopted Olga. Obviously she left Ukraine earlier this year. She's been staying with friends from the strongman community. So it's great to see that Olga's been included in this competition. She's been living in America.
I don't know the kind of details on whether she's just competing as a guest or she's kind of a resident now in the States.
She's just Olga. Everyone loves Olga.
Everyone does love Olga. She's awesome. But yeah, welcome. I mean, it's two stacked lineups, that's for sure. And there is a log for max in this competition.
Are the men and women doing the same events?
They're doing the same events, cool. Slightly different. I think there's a couple of slight differences. But obviously weights and stuff. But both competitions have log for max in. The men's lineup is stacked with big log lifters.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
There could be like a handful of guys that go over 200 kilos, 440 pounds. And we'll have to see whether, you know, the American record, Bobby Thompson has the current American record.
Yeah, is it 218? No, not 218. I think it's 216.5 or something like that.
Around that mark. But Bobby's just kind of getting back into training at the moment. We're really focusing on him peaking for the Arnolds. So he did a very comfortable 200 kilo log in training last week. Whether that's going to be enough to kind of keep all these kind of younger up and coming guys off his back.
Younger? Well, Bobby's young.
Bobby's been established now for a few years. Bobby and Trey, kind of, you know, there's real young bucks in these competitions.
But there's like, and some names that people might not know as well, like Tim Buck, for example. He came fourth at OSG, and OSG Opens Men was really stacked this year.
I was amazed, like super impressed with, you know, all the guys in the top 10, to be quite honest. Yeah. And looking at guys like Tim and Roy, I was blown away with their performances. I think these guys are going to be big stars of the sport. So this is an opportunity. You can watch these competitions.
Yes, there's a stream.
There is a stream. It's a different stream. I was kind of like looking about to try and find the stream. I thought ADL might be streaming. It's actually Muscle and Fitness that are doing the stream, and it's $15, I believe, for the whole weekend. It's a 2-day competition, so Friday and Saturday. There is also a lightweight women's class happening and a middleweight men's class as well. Okay. Some fantastic athletes in that. We apologise for the lack of information on all the athletes. It's just sometimes, if we're not kind of in communication with promoters,
we get what we're given, don't we?
So we've tried to find what we can. Let's quickly go through the events, though.
Okay.
So as I said, they're starting off with the log for max, and with Inez in the women's class. I think Nadia is competing in the lighter weight women's class. You've got a whole host of beastly men in the men's open that could all put something huge up. I think that's going to be an exciting one to kick things off. Event 2 is a carry medley, so there's a sandbag, there's some farmer's walk, and it goes into a duck walk, just to be nasty to these guys.
There's some big-legged men in this competition,
there are some big-legged men in this one.
It's not nice, is it, when you've got the big legs?
No, I was never a fan of the duck walk, but you can kind of block out that pain. It's not like I didn't like I beat Tom Stoltman at a duck walk once.
Yeah.
But every single time I did it, I woke up with these terrible bruises on my legs.
And you felt stupid at the time, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, you can cope with all that as well, but it's just a stupid event. Anyway, my hatred for duck walk will always continue, but we'll move on to the next event, which is a trap bar deadlift. A little bit different. We don't often see a trap bar deadlift.
And isn't it a ladder as well?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe it's kind of progressively getting heavier, and then I think it might be reps on the last one if they get to that. But yeah, trap bar deadlift. Interesting to see a different type of deadlift.
Yeah,
I always kind of mention that sometimes it's very samey.
Yeah.
Nice to see a different variation. Then we have the power stairs. They've got 3 implements up 4 18-inch steps.
Okay.
So quite high. Yeah. Going to be challenging weights. I believe 500 pounds is the last weight. So, these guys are used to that. Yeah. Obviously, we saw Trey Mitchell doing these.
Power stairs have made a big comeback in 2023. They're very fashionable.
It was like, in the 2000s, it became really popular with the likes of Mariusz Pudzianowski. Yeah. Then it kind of went quiet again, and suddenly they're back in every competition.
And you know why? Because the fans were asking and the promoters saw. And we have power, people. We should use it more often.
So this is a really interesting event I'm looking forward to seeing. It's the Cerberus sandbag over, I think they've got to load it over a yoke or over a bar. 52 inches for maximum weight.
Oh, okay. So like a Max Stone
bag. So it's like a rising bar with a sandbag. I think this is quite cool.
Yeah, it's a bit different.
I was very impressed with Wesley Claiborne on the sandbag at OSG. He didn't have the best performance overall at OSG, but he was incredible on that event.
How big do these sandbags go then? What's the max we could potentially see?
I think there's like 180, 200 kilos perhaps.
Would that be do you reckon that would be about the max that is possible to get over 52 inches?
These guys are so strong.
I don't work in inches, I work in centimetres.
So 132 centimetres for you, my dear.
Okay, I know what that looks like. That's good.
Yeah, so I really don't know who's going to win that one, but I think it's an interesting competition. You'd look at on paper and you'd say like Trey Mitchell is probably the favourite. He's really established himself as one of the best right now. But guys like Trey and Bobby are tired from a busy season and focusing on other shows coming up. So some of these up-and-comers do have a chance to kind of, stir the pot a bit and mix things up. I think we could well see some surprises. I think the smart money would be betting with Trey Mitchell as the favourite, but could be a hell of a competition. I'll look forward to seeing the results. How about on the women's side? Who do you think will be the favourite there?
It's hard to bet against Victoria Long. The last few times we've seen her compete, she's dropped so few points. At the Arnold's, she came second on the stone, but she was tied with a few people. That's where she dropped the most points. And then she dropped points only in 2 other places, once each, I think.
Pressing events.
Second on the Viking press and second on something, the deadlift to Andrea. But other than that, she just doesn't she's so good.
She's just amazingly consistent. There is no weakness in her game, which makes her so competitive and so good. But some very good athletes competing as well.
You wouldn't count out the others either. So it's going to be an interesting battle, but if I was a betting woman, my money would go on Victoria Long, personally.
So there is a link in the description below if you guys want to watch the live stream. It's Muscle and Fitness, and they have two streams, one on the Friday, one on the Saturday. So I hope it's an amazing competition. It's good to see a lot of big names doing America's Strongest Man, really building up that title once again to what it should be. You know, America has so much talent right now.
Yeah.
This should be a big deal, this competition.
It deserves more exposure, I think.
It does indeed.
Yeah.
Good luck to all the athletes competing. We look forward to seeing the results. Guys, if you want to check it out, the link is in the description below. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel. We'll catch you guys next time.